Calf disease results in increased mortality rates on farm, increased age of first calving, reduced profitability and productivity, and ultimately is a welfare concern. We've done a lot of work here over the last number of years in reducing disease rates to improve the overall health and welfare of the farm. Why do we find that calf disease rates are so high? Calves are under a lot of stress. We have overstocking, we have undiagnosed disease, we have nutritional issues, and hygiene has a huge part to play. Our overall goal here is that prevention is better than cure. We do our best to reduce overall stress, diagnose what we've got on farm, and use vaccines as prevention to improve their overall health. Why should we vaccinate? Well, it means that when those cows come into contact with the viruses and bacteria on your farm, they're not seeing them for the first time. So that means they don't get as sick. Does it mean that we don't get any scar and we don't get any pneumonia? No, it does not. But if we use the vaccines, then those cows should be able to fight those bugs, and the pneumonia cases and scar cases should be a lot milder. We get different types of vaccine. In calves, they're either intranasal or injectable. The intranasal vaccines are interesting. They're generally live vaccines, and they elicit a different type of response from the immune system. We call it an interferon response. And it almost primes the immune system to be on high alert to all infections, not just what the vaccine is covering. They generally are quite short lasting though, usually in around 3 months, and need repeated. The injectable vaccines are what we would call dead vaccines, so they need 2 shots. They don't work just as quickly as the intranasal because we need time for the 2 shots to get in, usually 3 or 4 weeks apart, before we get full protection. But they usually provide cover for a bit longer. Calves get an intranasal vaccine at 10 days of age. It's a live vaccine, so it gives them protection really, really quickly. And we do that before we stress them by moving them and mix them into groups. It's really easy to do, so Charlie can do it by himself. He waits the calf inhales, fires the vaccine up the nostril, and that's our stop. When we look at calf housing and hygiene, we have to remember we're rearing baby animals. Their immune system comes fully from colostrum, and it takes time then to develop its own immune system. So the most important things with calf housing, it has to be clean, it has to be warm, the calves have to be well bedded, no drafts, no excess moisture. So we don't want babies lying in a damp bed with the door open. Our feeding equipment has to be really clean as well. Any dirt on the feeding equipment, stale milk, buckets not scrubbed and disinfected, will go into the calf's stomach and produce a bacterial load, which will inevitably lead to infections and digestive upsets. So Charlie, what's your cleaning protocol between calves?
So basically, when the calves are 10 days old, they move into the bigger pens. We start by taking them out. As you can see, there are wheels on them.
Yeah.
We take them out and go in with the skid steer, remove as much straw as we can, hose it down with a power hose, and then we take these and we disinfect them, leave them for about half an hour, bring them in, water them, hose them down again, and let them dry.
So Charlie, this is obviously a purpose-built calf house, but the management here is unreal, with the hygiene of the hutches and the all-in, all-out systems. These calves, the bedding is really dry and clean. How often do you bed them?
About twice a week. We go in with wood chip kind of as a base to keep it dry, then put the straw and kind of from here and let that place down there, because it's normally wet, just keep it wood chip.
These pens have the option of a warm microclimate in the igloos, which has a slope out the back of it, so it drains really well. And then they have all the feeding equipment out the front, so away from the bedded area. So Charlie, how do you know if a calf is sick?
Well, the feeder shows us the suck speed, but we mainly go for visuals like drippy ears or, you know, down looking eyes, wet back tail, and kind of the fur on it's kind of drive itself. So that's the main factors.
So what is normal body temperature of a calf? If you look online, you will see lots of different answers, but general consensus is in around 38 degrees. Once we're getting above 39 degrees, the temperature is rising. And once we're up above 39.5, we're definitely spiking in temperature. Below 38 and you have a hypothermic calf, so that's a calf with a low temperature, and that calf really, really needs warmed up to bring it back up to normal range. A thermometer is one of the cheapest and probably most underutilized pieces of equipment in a calf house. If a calf has a high temperature, then you're probably in the early stages of disease where the body has raised that temperature to fight the bugs. If you get the calf with the high temperature, then you know you can treat it with anti-inflammatories, antibiotics if appropriate, fluids, and you know that you're there early and your treatment is likely to be successful. Once we have a sick calf with a normal temperature or a low temperature, then treatment is far less likely to be successful because we've missed that acute stage of disease. So Trenie's noticed this calf is lying a lot and its ears were cold. So we're just going to check its temperature and see whether it's running a temperature and try and work out what's wrong. So generally calf health here is really good, but if we do have a problem, then the most important thing is we use the right test to diagnose what's going on. So that's dung samples, sometimes on farm dung samples, most of the time we send them to the lab, nasal swabs if we're worried about pneumonia, so that we can work out exactly what the issue is, use the right treatment, and then work out a preventive strategy to stop it in the future.